You wouldn't expect a prestigious opera house to resemble a Roman Colosseum, but for a 12-year-old Malakai Bayoh, the stage became a battlefield before the world even knew his name. In late 2022, during a performance of Handel's Alcina at the Royal Opera House, something occurred that sent shockwaves through the classical music community and remains a core part of the Malakai lore today. As the young boy stood alone under the spotlight to deliver a complex solo, a grown man in the audience did the unthinkable. He began to loudly heckle and boo the child. For any performer, this is a nightmare, but for a preteen in an environment that prides itself on decorum, it was a moment of pure, unadulterated cruelty. However, the reason this story is vital to the Malakai news cycle in 2026 isn't just because of the heckler's behavior, but because of Malakai's chillingly calm response. He didn't miss a beat. He didn't shed a tear. He finished the piece with a level of professional stoicism that signaled to the industry that this wasn't just a talented kid. This was a seasoned professional in a child's body. The Royal Opera House eventually issued a lifetime ban to the individual involved, but the damage in the court of public opinion was already being discussed. Investigative reports at the time suggested that the pressure on child performers was reaching a breaking point. This event served as a dark prelude to his Britain's Got Talent debut, framing Malakai not just as a singer, but as a survivor of an industry that can often be elitist and unforgiving. Analysts suggest that this early trial by fire gave him the mental armor needed to handle the subsequent global explosion of his career. Yet it also raised serious questions about the ethics of placing children in such high-stakes, high-criticism environments. As we look at his 2026 status, the echoes of that night remind us that his journey was never as easy as his smile suggests. When Simon Cowell hit the golden buzzer in 2023, he wasn't just crowning a winner. He was activating a massive commercial machine that would forever change the trajectory of the Bayoh family. To the casual viewer, it was a heartwarming moment of television, but behind the scenes, the Cowell Effect is a high-speed lane toward professional obligations that most adults would find suffocating. Shortly after the show, Malakai was signed to Universal Music, specifically the Decca Records label, the legendary home of icons like Luciano Pavarotti and Andrea Bocelli. This wasn't a standard reality TV contract. It was a move to position a 13-year-old as the primary face of modern classical music. By 2026, we are seeing the results of that intense branding. Reports indicate that the scheduling for a talent of this caliber involves international tour, constant studio sessions, and a relentless PR cycle designed to keep the angelic persona fresh in the minds of the public. However, the exposed truth of these contracts is that they often come with immense pressure to perform regardless of personal circumstances. Malakai's debut album, Golden, didn't just top the charts, it had to. The investment made by Universal was substantial, and in the world of classical crossovers, there is a very small window of opportunity. Industry insiders have often speculated about the toll this takes on a child's education and social development. While his team maintains that he is a normal schoolboy, the reality of flying to Japan for sold-out performances while managing a heavy curriculum back in the UK suggests a life of extreme discipline and perhaps extreme isolation. The 2026 landscape for Malakai is one of immense financial success, but as investigative reporters often point out, the cost of being a commercial product at such a young age is a debt that is often paid in the years that follow. The question remains, is the industry protecting the boy, or is it simply harvesting the voice before it changes? There is a silent, biological clock ticking inside every male soprano, and for Malakai Bayoh, that clock is nearing its final chime in 2026. In the world of classical music, there is no event more feared than the breaking of a treble voice. It is a natural process that no amount of training or talent can prevent. For years, Malakai has been celebrated for his high, soaring notes, the kind that feel weightless and otherworldly. But as he enters his mid-teens, the physiological reality of puberty is the ultimate unspoken challenge. This isn't just a minor change. It is a fundamental shift in his instrument. History is littered with forgotten child stars whose careers ended the moment their voice dropped an octave. The 2026 news cycle has been filled with speculation about how Malakai is handling this transition. Some critics have pointed to recent performances where his range seems to be shifting, suggesting that the angelic treble era is officially coming to a close. However, the internal report from his vocal coaches suggests a more calculated strategy. Rather than fighting the change, Malakai is reportedly undergoing intensive training to transition into a tenor or baritone. This is a high-risk gamble. If the transition doesn't yield a unique, adult tone, the commercial appeal that made him a household name could vanish overnight. We are currently witnessing a pivotal moment in music history, the attempted transformation of a viral child prodigy into a sustainable adult artist. It is a process fraught with anxiety, both for the fans and the investors who have millions tied up in his future. The tension is palpable in his recent interviews, where the focus has shifted from the boy with the golden voice to the future of Malakai. This biological hurdle is the one thing Simon Cowell's money can't fix, making 2026 the most definitive year of Malakai's life. If you spend more than 5 minutes on social media, you've likely seen the headlines claiming a heartbreaking tragedy has struck Malakai Bayoh, but the reality behind these exposed stories is often a web of clickbait and misinformation. As a public figure, Malakai has become a prime target for fake news channels that thrive on exaggerated drama to drive engagement. Over the last few years, rumors have circulated ranging from secret health crises to career-ending accidents. Our investigative look into these claims reveals a much more stable, albeit highly managed, reality. Most of these tragedies are based on minor setbacks or even completely fabricated events designed to exploit the protective feelings fans have for the young singer. For instance, a recent viral video claimed he had lost his voice forever after a secret surgery, when in fact, he was simply taking a scheduled break for his school exams. This is the dark side of YouTube automation and the news cycle. The need for constant, shocking content often leads to the victimization of young artists. Malakai's family has had to become incredibly protective, limiting his direct interactions with social media to shield him from the more toxic elements of fame. Furthermore, the controversy surrounding his wealth or special treatment in the music industry is often cited by critics. However, those close to the production of his album suggest he remains a humble, almost shy teenager who is more interested in his friends than his bank balance. The real story isn't a tragedy at all. It's the mundane struggle of a kid trying to stay grounded while the internet tries to tear him down for views. By 2026, Malakai has become a case study in how a young star must navigate a digital landscape that is often more dangerous than the industry itself. The shocking truth is that he is doing remarkably well, despite the internet's best efforts to claim otherwise.